Welcome to Thriving Tribesmen. My name is Kuri, your host, and I'm excited to be making this episode. So, how to make seduction work. And this episode has been inspired by a gentleman who wants to join the Reignited Men. He's now within the process. He's done exactly what I've been telling you guys. Go to thriving_tribesmen on Instagram, type in blueprint, and as you type in blueprint, we'll start walking you through the process where you can apply to coming to Reignited Men. Now, the process is us figuring out what's going on in a relationship. We figure out what you've done in order to change a sexless relationship. And then based off of that information, we have an idea of how to give you a seduction blueprint. Now, as you give you the seduction blueprint, you go and you do it as a homework. And I'm speaking to him, you should be doing the homework. So when we come and talk about what you've done and the effect that has happened in a relationship, we got a better understanding where to take your relationship to the next level. Now, it could be with us, without us, no big deal. It's not, like I said, it's not a massive situation. He's got the evidence, or at least he's got the data in order for him to make a decision when we invite him to come with Reignited Men, which I think he will, because we've been updating over WhatsApp. But one of the things that he said, and then we end up in a coaching session, was the fact that he said he's best friends with his partner. Everything is good, but the sex. So I just asked him, can you just elaborate on what you mean good and what you mean a good relationship is and what do you mean by best friends? So he said, we don't have arguments and we never have too much friction when it comes to things. I said, I think your sexless relationship is being caused by the fact that you don't have arguments and you're measuring your relationship based off of the fact that there's lack of argument. In fact, the lack of negative emotions within a relationship is not natural and it's not normal. The reason being that, for example, since this weekend, we had challenging conversations, and we have challenging conversations all the time. When I say challenging, I mean arguments or different points of view, but the idea being the fact that I can share my point of view and generate some sort of frustration and anger maybe sometimes from my wife, it means that I'm comfortable and safe enough in order to speak what I believe is to be the truth. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm right. It doesn't mean that I'm wrong, but I'm comfortable enough to speak that. And I'm okay with having a negative emotion that is in it being reason within that interaction. And vice versa, she is prepared to do so. And that's how you became, by viewing those challenges, or at least allowing those challenges to come into your relationship. It gives you the opportunity for you to deal with them, especially if it's insecurity based. I get the opportunity to deal with that and individually, and we both get to deal with it collaboratively. And that is the measure of what a good relationship is. When you can do that, that's the keys of actually generating attraction. Now, in fact, just to bring it a little bit back, I was telling him about the distinction between attraction versus seduction, that these are two separate entities. Most people view as seduction as a thing that you use in order to generate attraction. Now, the difference is that you need to generate attraction, meaning what that means is you need to get her to like you before you get into seduction. You're more likely to be successful when you can generate attraction first and then transition into seduction. Now, the point being that the components that are required in order to generate attraction is exactly this, that you have to be willing to allow different emotions to be introduced into your relationship, into day-to-day. Part of those are the negative ones, and some of those are the positive ones. So in order to really give you a mental picture for this, now I started explaining to him that in Hollywood, when they make films, it's pretty much the same film. And I'm really sorry because I'm going to spoil films for you for the rest of your life. There's what they call a story arc. And within that story arc, they need to make you, especially the first 10% of the film, they need you to like that character. They need you to be invested in that character. Now, I'm just going to skim through a film that I hope you have watched called Cars. It's an animation film. I watched it with my daughter once, and I thought, oh, this is a pretty cool film. And that's the story that I thought had a very good story arc. So initially, it shows you this car that is confident, that is a rookie, is having his rookie year, and he's already been winning many races. So it catches you on the second last race of the season. So he's already scored enough points. He is trying to go past different cars. He ends up beating one of his heroes, and there's also this guy who absolutely hates him. But you can see that he's really determined to win, and he's trying to prove himself. And really, he's got a chip on his shoulder as well. So he's like, look at me. I'm the best thing. So we get a bit of sense of that, where we're just sort of like, okay, we like that bit of people. We like when people are doing things to win. We like when they are a triumph. But at the same time, there's nothing that makes him special. And what makes him special and makes us like him in that point is when sort of the cameras have sort of gone away. He's now speaking with his agent, and his agent says, well, the race is the last one, is the Piston Cup. You get to win that, and if you win that, you're possibly going to have better sponsorship deals. For that, because it's such a big occasion, I got these free tickets to give to your friends and family. Do you have any friends and family that I can give them to? So you have this really awkward conversation, and for the first time, you kind of see this bit that he's actually a very lonely guy. Even though he's so confident, even though he's a winner, even though he's done all those amazing things, he's actually quite lonely. And that's the first time that everybody's sort of invested into what it is. Now, imagine, look at that emotion that he's experiencing. He's experiencing a negative one, which draws us in as an audience to like him. So, again, that's the first time we start liking him, and then he goes on to this journey. Now, he starts going on to this journey, and then he encounters a challenge where the truck driver that was he's in sort of sleeps, and then sort of budges him out, and then he ends up lost in a place called Radiator Springs. And in that Radiator Springs, he ends up meeting different people, and every time he's trying to leave this place, he's being held back, and over a period of time, within him having challenges where he experienced anger, frustration, happiness, sadness, he experienced all these negative emotions because of the challenges. We as an audience get even more in love with him now. That's if we're looking at it from a seduction perspective, this first 10% was attraction, and these challenges become the thing that is the seduction bit. So now I'm really getting you fully engaged into this film, and you're invested because you've been through the peaks and valleys of his emotions, and then by the time you get to the end, you're invested to how the outcome. Now, the amazing part about this is that while the goal was to get the Piston Cup, in the end, you see him that he races, and then when he sees his hero being smashed out by the bad guy and crashing out, and potentially because that hero was supposed to retire, this was his last race, and then they would pass on, the torch on to the rookie. The rookie stops right at the line when he could potentially win this cup that he's fought for his whole entire life for. He wants to get, and up until then, if he had never experienced the values of friendship, he stops right on the line. He lets somebody else win. He goes back to get this guy. He pushes him over, and then this guy goes, "Why have you done this? You've missed winning the Piston Cup because it's just an empty cup." And basically saying that friendship is much more valuable than that external thing. And that's the whole story in a nutshell. My point being that when it comes to seduction, you have to have the same thing. It's almost something similar. Now, there's this outcome that you want, obviously, which is sex, but that deeper meaning comes from you navigating those challenges. And again, that deeper meaning is different for everybody, but that real connection that you can get, where there's that real connection with your partner, you have to take it through this sequence of making it like you. And again, this bit of amnesia that happens from her. It's not that she doesn't like you. It's just that you are constantly evolving. She's constantly evolving. So you have to get her to like the person that you are today. And again, the next person that you are tomorrow and the day after. And you do this frequently. That there's a dance, like for example, for me and my wife, we've got a dance that we're always doing. Not a dance as in dancing, but there's always a lot of flirting, a lot of playfulness, and all of them have got different emotions that we're generating, and those emotions are the things that create that attraction and the way I deal with it. So when she gets frustrated, for example, when she gets angry, me staying solid and not being non-reactive gets her to be attracted to me, because then I'm at that solid place that she can trust that when things are going horrible, I am the steady Eddie, for example. I'm the guy who's going to be steady, who's not going to be unmoved by a negative situation, and she will find that attractive. When I break rapport, when she's doing something and I'm playful with everything that is happening, she can find it annoying, she can find it frustrating, but because I allow that to happen within our relationship, I can use that emotion that is generated to transition into seduction. And this is where things become very interesting, when you can understand where you are when it comes to the process. Now, for example, if I wanted to have sex with my wife on the weekend, for example, I don't start trying to seduce her on Saturday morning, for example. I start doing this on a Monday. Not that I ever stop, but I'm continuously doing it. And Monday will be a good time to start, doing some things in order to generate a bit more attraction. And that, again, is not me avoiding any negative emotion, because this is what most of you guys do. You avoid the negative emotion, hoping that by avoiding that causes her to feel attracted to you, or at least she'll move into seduction better, which is absolutely wrong. I think if you think about a film, I was talking about this film, the thing that makes you even more interested and sold to the film is the fact that he's experiencing all these challenges and all these emotions, where he's sometimes happy and then he's sometimes frustrated, and then he's sometimes sad, and then he's experiencing connection, and then he's experiencing something. And you have to do this in order to create some excitement, create some anticipation, to also create some, and when you're doing all of this, it makes it so much easier to transition into seduction. And this is why it becomes very powerful, and also becomes consistent, because now you have a way of doing it. Now, I spoke about this a few weeks ago when I was saying, you have to generate interest, then you got desire, and then and this is part of the process of doing so, that there is phases within that attraction side of things, and then whenever you go into the seduction side of things, there's also another phase where you're doing certain things. Now, in order for me to go into more depth with this, I'm considering doing a masterclass. Now, I want you guys to come to the Instagram, thriving_tribesmen, and type in masterclass. And I'm not going to say anything else to you guys. I'm not going to reply. I'm not going to say anything. What I want is to see if you guys are interested in actually me making a masterclass, so I can go in depth into what attraction looks like. What is seduction gap, for example? What are the things that I use to create curiosity, and what that looks like. Like, what is the principles behind it? Not just the tactics, but what are the principles behind it, and how can you use it specifically for your relationship? And also, what are the guiding principles for that seduction, and how do you use that for your relationship, and so you can get sexual success. Now, this is it can be a masterclass for as an asset for the guys within the Reignited Men, and I'm going to be doing quite a few of them, so we can start building a big library of lessons, so that whenever you guys got questions, I'll direct you to these in-depth lessons, so you can get high quality information in order to change your sexless relationship. So thank you very much, guys, for listening. It's a bit longer than I normally do, but thank you very much for listening. I'll be seeing you guys soon. Take care.